Welcome back, everybody, to our From the Asses
From the Ashes podcast.
From the Ashes podcast. And I was literally trying to get September shorts and all that stuff mixed in together, and I'm definitely going to keep this. All
Oh,
right.
barnacles.
So, anyways, welcome to From the Ashes podcast. We are continuing our series on DBD Killer Tears. And joined with me today is Arson, my dual host for these shorts. And we have compiled an amazing list. And to be honest, we've been pretty spot on with each other, like within a few exceptions. We've been pretty close on where we think people like killers should go, and that actually surprises me more than not, because I thought we were going to have some big differences. However, we still have
Still
8
might.
left. We still have 8 left, so yeah, it could change very quickly, and due to that, I am going to go ahead and let Arson take over for this little segment that we're liking to call recap. I don't know. So we're gonna
No,
recap. We're gonna recap the killers.
there's
Go for it.
there is a lot that we've already done, so I don't even know if I can, get my usual jackassery out. So I guess I'll just point out the important ones here. In S tier, the Spook Troop, the titular titans of this list, we have from top to bottom the Unknown, Blight, Ghostface, and Dredge. And then following up in A tier, the king, who is more than likely about to be dethroned,
Mm-hmm.
Vecna, the Lich, followed by Albert Whisker, the Spirit, Chucky, Meatball Man, Jumpscare Sadako, and Boopy Pig.
Poopy
And
pig.
then in BDSM tier, we have Pinhead, right hand Demo Dog, left hand Cone Head, Pyramid Head, Knight, new clown, appointed jester, executed XK pop star trickster, followed by Queen Crow Lady and Sheriff Deputy Deathslinger. And in C tier we have the Oni, um, followed by Nemesis and Plague, the virus bacteria plague bringing duo, and then the king, the king of the chainsaws, Leatherface, who has dethroned Xeno, and Xeno is now dead last, unfortunately. But it is what it is. And then in D tier, which I really don't want to talk about, except the twins, which are leading the charge in D, are Freddy and Legion, and then in dead last, Skull Merchant, with
Yep.
twins at the top of D, if that hasn't already been stated.
Twins are
And
on top of the D.
that is our standing so far.
Yeah, and that is our standing. And now we've got the next 4, and we can actually say we're gonna do 4 this round and 4 next round because we both agreed that we want to do the last episode about the 4 original killers. And
Oh, we're about to get into some heavy territory here, man.
we are. It's the final 8.
Because these eight have some very, very they've been here for a long time, so they got a lot of build up with the community.
Especially the last one we talk about. The last one
Yep.
we're going to talk about in this list for today is literally the first one to come out.
The one that started it all.
Yes. So that being said, let's kick this off and let's talk about the first lady. Well, I wouldn't say lady.
First ranged lady.
First ranged lady of DBD. There we go. And that would be the Hatchet Lady herself. Ready for this? Huntress. So, what can I say about the Huntress that has not already been said? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let Arson talk first. So go for it, Arson. I'm waiting for the next one for me.
Before I joined this wacky group here. Before in my other friend group, still do even without those bastards around. I have a very complicated relationship with Huntress. It's almost like a rivalry of sorts. It is horrible. I don't know, but I don't really have any problems with Huntress, but for some reason Huntresses absolutely loathe me. And they want me dead or they just want like they just can't me. It's a weird dynamic that we have, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about it.
Hold on, who's
I've
the
got
Huntress's survivor?
the Huntress's survivor is David.
David. Oh, well, you don't use David, so never mind.
I don't use David.
You use Jake.
I use Jake, but Jake is a wild man, if you don't know.
Yeah.
And Huntress kills things in the wild.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess there's an ironic sense of, you know, it's quite ironic in that sense. But yeah, no, I don't play Huntress. I am not good with the hatchets.
She's a very hard killer to learn.
Yeah, extremely good killer. She's up there, but obviously not as strong as, killers like Blight and Nurse, but she's like in terms of power, like if we were doing like, just purely gameplay, she's an A tier killer. If people know how to use Huntress, she's a solid top A tier killer.
I think she's about to dethrone somebody. That's how good I think she is in A tier.
Yeah, but this isn't about gameplay.
Well, yeah, but like there's everything about her. Like if you get a really good person that plays Huntress, you're screwed.
There's nothing quite as fun though as like it's like a dance almost, you know, when you go up against her, it's like a dance of dodging or getting hit with the hatchets. It's a thrilling game. I do have to admit that. But the second
you realize that she's using Eerie Head, oh my gosh.
It was worse. It was worse before the nerfs where she could carry 2 at a time.
Oh man.
That was fun, man.
But I do think she is a solid killer. She's, she could be considered partially one of the OGs. Because I mean, look, let's be real. She came out within the first year? So, or right around that time. So,
yeah, the ones we are ranking now are basically classified as the OGs. I think I think even Leatherface falls into that category.
Right.
I think everything after Leatherface was basically like everything after Leatherface aren't like these are the OGs.
Yes.
Like Leatherface and then Leatherface and before, these are the OGs as far as I am concerned.
I can agree with that. And a Huntress, the second you hear her lullaby come from her, and let me just tell you, her legendary skin now, the second you hear that,
technically she has 3 lullabies, right? She has hers, and then the other one, and then the beast one, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, when you hear those, you're like, crap, we're facing the Huntress. You guys better go search for Huntress's lullaby and blah 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 blah. Like it's pretty like there's the thing is that there's somewhat no middle ground with her to me. You either get one that's good or one that's bad. And when I say bad, I mean that falls under the category of toxic as well. But I'm talking like just people that just don't know how to play or just decide to pick up her for the first time, even though they've got experience with other people. But Huntress is extremely difficult to learn. But she's really good. And I do love the face of there's nothing more satisfying than making her miss. I mean, that's just fact for me. There's nothing more satisfying than making her miss or hitting her with the pallet and hearing her go.
Yeah, she really gets pissy.
Oh, she does. But that being said, that is where I fall with this. I think she is a very high tier person. Um, she's got
Yeah,
a interesting Mori. Um,
stabbed. Those extra hits were really not necessary, but whatever.
no, they're not. But apparently, hey, if she needs to work out a little anger, I guess there you go. Um, and then yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Huntress, and I'm sticking to those thoughts. And let's see what Arson has to say if to bring it home for us.
All right. Well, um, she is another one of a tragic backstory. She and her mother were out just living out in the wild, and her mother is unfortunately killed by an elk, I think, stabbed by the antlers. And unfortunately, her mother passes, but not before singing that iconic lullaby to her before she passes. And since then, I guess, I mean, she's just been living it out on her own in the wild. Um, she is definitely matured into a deadly killing machine. Um, Granted, in the lore, she does wipe out a platoon of soldiers that were crossing her forest. I don't know if it's been confirmed or denied that she has indulged in human flesh. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. I hope not.
Mm. Wouldn't put it
But
past her. To be
yeah, no,
honest.
I mean, meat is meat, I guess.
Yeah,
Especially if you're just out in the wild.
that'd be a
Um,
perfect date for Leatherface. You want to go out?
but yeah, no, she has a particularly sad story. It's not as tragic as some of the other ones on here, but she lost her mother and she's basically had to tough it out on her own. And I guess she's done extremely well for herself in that regard. Um, she has some, she has a lot of cosmetics. I wouldn't say a lot of them catch my eye, except the legendary ones. Uh, there are some interesting tidbits of lore for her cosmetics, is what I will give her though. And I think aside from that, uh, yeah, that's all I really have to say on that front.
Mm-hmm. I do like a lot of her skins. They've done a lot with her. The were elk is absolutely terrifying to face. Just to hear that low pitch lullaby in a
Oh
deep man's
yes, and of
voice.
course I can't forget she is another titular character that you can swoon in hooked on you.
Yeah,
Almost forgot about that. Forgot. That's got to earn some brownie
which
points.
should push her up above Vecna.
You think she goes above Vecna?
I think she does. For one thing, she's an original that has stood the test of time since dang near the beginning of Dead by Daylight.
I suppose I can agree with you there. She is still widely picked by a
Oh,
good couple of people.
absolutely. And
She
when
is also one of the few that did squeak into the 2v8 mode.
yep, yep.
There are a lot of layers to Huntress that I usually don't see, and I mean I guess so. Yeah,
I think
Vecna is going to be
I
dethroned
think
by the
she
bunny lady.
yeah, I think she yeah, definitely. I think no disrespect to Vecna, he held that title for so many episodes at this point. I mean, this is what our
For
seventh
being
episode.
Yeah, for being a new character, he held that title well,
Yeah,
but he could not stand against one of the classics.
no, not at all. She is absolutely a beast, and yeah, she does have that tragic backstory, and that's true. She did make the cut, which is surprising that they put her in above somebody that came out before her, as in like, could you imagine the hag? Oh my gosh, the hag and the freaking hillbilly and or not a
Hag
hillbilly,
and Trapper.
hag and trapper. That's what I was thinking. Could you imagine those two together? Jeez, but yeah, she made 2v8, and that was like crazy. But yeah, she is awesome. Not everybody that plays her is awesome, and obviously, as Arson has told you, he is pretty much gunned down by the Huntress. Uh, I've seen it. I've seen it.
And there you go. There you have it. A moment in history.
Yep.
Vecna has been dethroned. All hail the new queen of A tier.
And that brings us to the one that is very special to me.
The one, the only, giggly man.
Sorry. The Doctor. The Doctor, I can't stand his map. I his survivor annoys me half the time. And I know that's not a very popular opinion, but Feng Min just annoys me every once in a while. Just the way she's got this erotic like cry when she's injured. She's like, it's not like that, but you know what I mean. Um,
I
she
just hate her because she has a lot of cosmetics.
she is the queen of cosmetics, I would say.
Right up
Um,
there with Nia.
whatever. Nia, thankfully, has been starting to get some more than what she used to, and I'm glad for that. But this is not about Nia. This is definitely not about Feng Min. This is about my boy, the Doctor. The Doctor is very powerful, especially depending on the build you have with him. And yes, I am biased.
You
His
thought Legion was annoying.
his backstory is not tragic at all. It's absolutely like ridiculous that this man is like completely insane and just a horrible person. you know? Uh, but that being said, I personally, when I play Doctor, I play what I call good Doctor. And my good doctors, I usually let everybody live as long as they're not a-holes. If they try to be toxic, I give it to them straight up. You know, but I'm not toxic. I don't camp. I don't tunnel. I don't do any of that stuff. But I will say this: I was challenged by one of our you know uh, panelists or co-hosts, whatever you want to call them, Al your pal, to get to Erie 1 with my killer. And that set me on a tirade for 5 streams in a row to where I did nothing but killer. And in 5 streams and averaging about 4 hours per stream, I got I got my killer ranking from Ash 4 to Erie 1. All going, by the way, in those 5 streams, I went 45-0 with 4 Ks all across the board. And the only reason I I literally went 46-1 basically. Oh no, it was, yeah, 46-1 because and I claimed that because I let them all go on the 46 match because I thought I was going to pip up the Erie 1 because I did everything right. I hooked everybody twice and it was good, but one person DC'd which affected my stuff. And so that being said, because I let them go, I was gonna let my stuff stand at 45 because 45 is my favorite number. But I played the next match and I 4K'd them and got my Erie 1 and it stood at that. Now that being said, I love my doctor and he is an extremely high tier. He also is very menacing. I can't stand to play against him, but I know how most doctor killers think. So therefore, I can play against him mostly for the better part of it. Especially the way people run different skills nowadays. They're predictable with a lot of things that they're going to bring. That's why a lot of people bring certain things to counteract screaming and stuff like that. And that's one of the perks I bring with Doctor. Or when I play and when I play Doctor, he doesn't have that advantage against me. So, but a good Doctor will 4K a good group of survivors pretty easily. That's where I stand on that.
Yeah, especially with some of the perks as of late, you can make some devious builds
Yeah.
with Doctor.
Well, the best I've ever used is one that Al told me about, and that was the Impossible Generator build, which has Huntress's Lullaby in there. And as long as you keep that hidden and safe and get those hooks, yeah, there's no way they'll get a gen done against me if I don't want them to. They have to be really good to be able to do it. So my vote is, and I'm going to do this because he's my doctor, and that's all I see is my doctor, you know? I want him in S tier, but I want him at the back of the list. I don't want him number 1.
As much as I would love to tear your walls down, put him in a lower tier, I still do have to take everything else into factor. He is a character I do not like going up against. Like, I loathe going up against doctors.
Mm-hmm.
They're a tough nut to crack. Playing as him is, again, you're playing as Doctor. It's kind of hard to flub that up if you don't know what you're doing. Or, if you know what you're doing, it's kind of hard to not at least get one kill.
Doctor's a pretty easy killer to use.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
And then there's, his cosmetics are great.
Oh
he
my
has
gosh.
Great cosmetics. Yes. He has some bordering on kind of goofy, like Evil Dead type of goofy, where it's like
yeah.
Like messed up goofy, but it's still goofy. And then he has, his blighted skin where he has 3 eyes, and the other one where he's his latest one, which was in the
Arnold Schwarzenegger doctor.
Yeah, the dome where he has the cigar hanging in his mouth.
Oh man, that's so good. I like his Pharaoh doctor, like the one from the Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
That even has its own music with it. Like it plays Iron Maiden in the background, which is kind of cool.
And his Mori is pretty goofy as well. I like the way he just shocks their freaking eyeballs and smoke coming out. But going into his lore, this is not someone you should feel bad for.
No, not at all. I agree.
He is a vile, he's one of the most vile on the list here. Like, of course, there are some that absolutely outrank him, but that's just how they are.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of morality, this guy's soul is pitch black.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The only thing I can justify him doing is that he avenged the people of the Garden of Joy by fucking murking the shit out of Otto Stamper.
Yeah.
Otto really got his comeuppance there when Herman came along, and good old Herman came along and just shat all over his operations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, no, that was the one big win that he really came out with, and also his kind of real life inspiration. I don't know if you remember this. It's kind of foggy for me, but I think there was a really messed up doctor in China, I think, that did electroshock therapy on certain people that did too many game things, I think.
Really? I didn't know that.
No, yeah, it's either Japan or China. I forgot which one it was, but that's why Fang is the survivor. I think that's why it was supposed to be an inspiration for it. It was a really messed up doctor that did electroshock on people who did too much games or something like that, and yeah, that's why he's like a real life inspiration basically. So yeah, that earns him a lot of points. He covers a lot of the bases of being a messed up killer.
He absolutely is a messed up killer, and
even if I don't like playing against him, everything else about him is perfect. Yeah. So I will accept your low S tier rank.
But not only that, and I know I don't need to talk him up anymore, but not only that, but they just buffed him.
Really?
Yes, and I don't know why.
Why did you get buff?
This is the one buff that I don't agree with. It shortens his main power, time wise. So we time this because it used to be at least a minute, if not more. And if you go in, your shock therapy is your normal stuff, but Like when you use his main power, it takes 41 seconds to get it back.
That's pretty nutty.
It is crazy. Like you got to use like because they changed a couple of his add-ons to make it happen, and it is really crazy that you could just like literally shock people every 40 to 41 seconds. Like Shadow and I timed it. I did one match after they buffed him because they the recent one just buffed Nemesis, Doctor, and who was the last one? I'm looking at the list right now. Hold on. Is it?
Well, aside from all of that, I think it's pretty safe to say that he
Yeah.
does belong. He is the newest member in the Spook Troop.
Yep. And absolutely. And I'm just look. And to me, he should be tier S #1. But I also see how the unknown is and the others before him, even Ghostface. But if you put any of these 5 members up there in a 2v8 with somebody, no one's surviving. There's no way. I don't know how you could get them to survive. Put Doctor and the Unknown together. Oh my Lanta.
What can you believe?
It's crazy. All right, so that brings us to our next one, who has probably the biggest like tragic backstory in all of Dead by Daylight. And I feel like I am safe saying that because of it's just granted I can't stand her map. I love outside maps, but I cannot stand the swamp. I never have. Anybody that plays with me knows this. But the Hag is an interesting character in her own. There's some things that they've buffed about her, and I don't like how you can't use your flashlight to take out her little marks.
Got
I
to
don't.
scrub them off now.
You got to scrub them off now, but I, but because of all that stuff, she is, and to be fair, not a lot of people use her as much anymore. You get your certain ones, but
Every once in a blue moon.
yeah, but every time one pops up, you got that thought like, crap, we got to face a freaking Hag. She's got that factor about her. So that being said, I definitely don't think she's down towards the lower tiers. So
No. Um, I played her again earlier. I have not played her lately. There are other killers I just want to play because they fit my playstyle a lot more, and I really have no reason to go back to most of the old killers. Unless it's like leveling up their perks now because of the new update and everything. That's the new update that's happened a long while ago. But
yeah,
you know, prestige them up to 3 times so I can get all their stuff on the 3rd tier. Um, but yeah, she has a extremely sad backstory.
absolutely.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I would say it's the saddest,
I think it's one of
but
them.
it's definitely up there. It is definitely up there as one of the saddest.
Well,
It
you
also helps.
explain that real quick to them. Do
It
me a
helps
favor.
that she's an original.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the original sufferers. So
Yeah. Well, do me a favor. Explain it to them. I hate to do this in the middle of the podcast. I have to go and get my dog's medication, and give it to him
oh
right
no,
now.
yeah, man, go ahead.
So you go ahead and explain, and I will be listening. So yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
All right. So while he's doing on puppy duty, I will explain to the best of my ability the lore of the hag. Um, the hag, I think her name was Lisa, if I remember correctly. I actually think I remember some of her tome lore, and this was before all that messed up stuff happened to her in her original bio. She used the symbols to bring herself luck, and I think one of her classmates abused it, and she died because of it. And the hag became wary of the the hexes that she was using. Um, but then later on, I think in her original bio, she's just out and about, living her life in her village. On one particular day, though, she it was stormy day, and I think she trips, falls, gets knocked out, and then I think she gets kidnapped. Or I don't know what happens after that. She blacks out, or she purposefully gets knocked out and gets kidnapped that way. But for whatever reasons, she is kidnapped. She wakes up shackled to an dingy underground horrible place where these cannibals slowly take pieces of her away to cannibalize her, basically. And she's just down there, completely losing all hope. Um, and then eventually, the entity comes to her with an offer of, well, you can die here peacefully, I guess, as peaceful as you can get, or you can get your revenge tenfold. And, as we clearly already know, she took the revenge route, butchered
And
everybody, ate
does
them,
mhm.
and then disappeared into the fog.
Does she get her revenge? That's the sweetest part. And I love that. Like, I don't like stories like that, but I love that she did get her revenge. She's a killer. It's hard to hate, no matter how people play her. You know?
It's really tough to look at her because I think in her tome, I think she is still like, I know people like thought originally like she's a hag, so she's like old. She's
Mm-hmm.
not. She was young. She was young by the time she got taken, and all that horrible stuff happened to her. Like she still had a lot of life left in her, just like the
Mm-hmm.
spirit, and it was unfortunately snuffed and rekindled evilly by the entity to serve its nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
And
It-
so, yeah.
it's unfortunate, but I mean, that backstory to me gives her a lot. It just it. I still think that hers, in my own eyes, is the most tragic backstory in all of DBD. Now, up there with the spirit and the plague, I would say those three are, and probably the artist. Um, those are some of the biggest tragic backstories. I mean, we also got Huntress. We talked about all this.
What
And like
about
I,
the twins?
well, okay, yeah, the twins, but that didn't even save them. So they can rot in D.
Damn, man. That's cold. That's
Well,
stone cold.
it is tragic, but I'm sorry, I just can't. But the hag, um, let's talk about you know how to run her. So the hag has like gotten the last time she was touched, she got a buff, and to where she could put down a lot more of her traps, or not, maybe not a lot more, but more. Like we talked about before, you cannot wipe them away with a flashlight. You have to literally get down there and wipe them away, which it still takes about the same amount of time from flashlight, and I guess it saves you battery. But it was just something about burning it off the ground that just made it, made you feel good.
Well,
Um,
maybe for you, you were the one who always ran a flashlight.
well, yeah, but I mean, a hag is very easily runnable. Um, One thing I love
she's,
to do is if
she's
she traps a
really
bunch of
supposed
stuff.
to be. She isn't really supposed to be a chase. She's
Mm,
more of like a hit and run ambush
yeah,
type of killer.
but I love it when she's in chase. I'll go, and if she traps a bunch of stuff, I'll go running like you see me do it. I'll go and like trip every single one of her traps. It's gonna tick her off or tick the person off. So that's what I do. But yeah, you're right. She is that way, and I got a special place in my heart just because of her backstory. Um, and that's done more for this list than for some of them than not. So yeah. Um, what are your final words on her? What do you think her placement should be? I'm going to leave this up to you to see what you think, and then I'm going to see if you are there with me.
Um, I was going to say something, but it got completely erased from my memory or my thought process. It's just gone now. What the
Oh.
heck? I was going to say something, but
Hmm.
man, it's
Well,
it's gone.
if you remember it later, then we'll still talk about it. So
Well, I mean, the rankings are final. I feel like I should say that
yeah,
when these rankings are done, when you place them down, it is done.
right.
There's nothing you can do about them. If you switch them around, then that's a show of weak character. You're weak-willed.
Correct, I agree.
But I think, yeah, she now I remember. Aside from most stealth killers and like Sadako, because she just generally unnerves me. Hag is one of the few killers that does jump scare me from time to time.
Oh, me
Because
too, because you don't
I
expect it.
yeah, I carelessly step and then
Oh gosh.
yeah, it gets a little. It doesn't get a scream out of me, but it does
Yeah.
make like oh, all right. Well, she's gonna kill me now.
It's always nice when she doesn't come to you and she's like, it's always nice when that happens. But she also has a lot of really good aesthetics. I love her swamp creature.
Yeah, I do not have a sense of direction as to where to put her, so I will humbly give you the floor to decide where she should go.
You may or may not like this. I'm gonna place her and I want to see what you think. Are you ready? Are you
Go ahead.
ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Really?
I really do believe. I
The
believe
BDSM king has been dethroned.
I do believe she's high B tier. Um, she's gotten stronger since they
Wow.
buffed her. That's where I believe she belongs.
I can highly respect this decision. It is a ballsy play.
Yeah.
I did not think Pinhead Larry was going to be dethroned.
Yeah.
Man.
I wanted to put her in A tier, but I don't think she's strong enough to put in A tier. Um, I really don't think so. Even with the tragic backstory, I felt like that would give me the gumption to put him or put her in front of Pinhead. So
Hear ye, hear ye. The kingdom has fallen.
yep, yep. So are you okay with this?
It's so bold.
Uh,
I'll accept it.
okay. All right. So and that leads us to our last killer for this episode.
Oh yeah.
And I hate to say we saved the best for last on this, but we really did. Even that's even for the doctor. And that's for someone that's a complete psycho who really loves his sister.
I don't think I'm just gonna jump the gun and take the bullet and immediately say I don't think anybody deserves to be in the spook troop more than this man.
I agree. I think Michael Myers is an S tier killer.
All of these years, and he has stood the test of time. I said before that like killers like Pyramid Head and like others were like static and had really after that nothing else has really happened. Nothing has happened to this guy. He has remained the same
Yeah.
because he merely does not care.
Yeah, and that's the thing is with Michael Myers, they don't need to buff him or anything else. He is what he is. His perks are good. His there's nothing more scary than thinking you're having one of two killers of Michael Myers, and that is a scratch mirror Myers and a tombstone Myers. And oh my gosh, it's like or an infinite Myers. Actually, that yeah. So those three, if you get infinite Myers, you're a lot of the times you're screwed, especially if you have someone that knows how to play him. I believe he is the king of S.
Do you?
I
I
do.
mean, I think he should be right behind. I think he should be right behind Blight. He's special. He is very special. The first licensed, a huge licensed character, and he has no changes. He has
Yeah.
been. There's nothing that needs to be explained. This
Right.
guy is one of the slasher kings.
So I'll tell you this. I'll give you this because you've already let me dethrone two in this episode. Like we've dethroned Vecna and we've dethroned Pinhead. I will give you the Michael Myers, but I do believe he's better. He's better than Blight. Let's just say it. I know he's better than Blight.
Not
but
to me. I'm sorry to say, but not to me. And I find it quite ironic that he will be right next to Ghostface.
yeah, I got you. So yeah, so Michael did make S tier. So when we haven't had much change in the S tier, you know, lo and behold, in the last couple episodes, we pull in Ghostface, Doctor, and Michael Myers. So that's pretty good. But that being said, this episode is now expired. We are gonna have to get off of here and definitely come back next time with our
Rank the big
final.
four.
Yes, the Fab Four, the final ranking of our tier list for our DBD killers are coming up soon. So keep an eye out and just remember. Oh man, that just remember that these next four killers are going to be an interesting place to put, and I feel like Arson and I are going to have a little bit of difference of opinion on some of these guys, maybe. But that being said, I want to thank Arson for being here with me, and I just feel like I've been saying this a lot lately. um, but for those out there in our podcast land, if you want to know more about From the Ashes or From the Asses podcast, apparently,
Welcome to From the Ashes podcast.
that's a whole other. Please don't search that. But if you want to know more about From the Ashes, in our link, there's a link in our description below. Go check it out. And yeah, other than that, we'll see you soon. And I hope you guys have a great week.
Chili dogs.